Forward rolling on the rings is well interesting because it is actually much physically easier than the rings muscle up. It's just a much more complicated process. Now, the first thing that we need to keep sorted is that we make sure that we're forever pushing energy directly this way. Now, during the process of this, because we're rolling around, our orientation of where this way is flips upside down. But if we can always make sure that our hands are pushing energy that way, whether it's using our pulling or our pushing muscles, we'll make sure that we don't fall out. It's probably also worth identifying that as long as you don't let go of the rings as well, the absolute worst case scenario that can happen here is this. So it's worth doing that a few times intentionally, just so that there's no fear here. Again, as long as you don't let go of the rings, nothing bad can happen. Now, the first part of this movement is just an L-sit to shoulder stand transition without extending into the shoulder stand. So it is very much a seesaw effect. As your shoulders come down, the hips get pushed up, but the thighs stay towards the belly. Once we're in that triangle position, the next thing that we want to do is we want to get the inside of the rings together, false grip heavy, and hit the rings together quite heavy and keep them together. If we can keep the rings hugged in towards our chest and the false grip in aggressively, the torso will actually do the transition for us as the hips come around. This is also one of those interesting movements that the pike is actually much easier than the tuck. The pike will help distribute the weight and roll quite nicely, while a tuck will make it a bottom heavy object and will be more aggressive on the swing. Now, the forward roll is primarily a pushing motion, but there is one very sharp pull. So as soon as the hips pass the straps, as the hips travel down, this is now a pull. And you have to use your biceps to keep the rings at the chest and also the false grip aggressively wrapped around to not lose it. Now, if you do this movement a little bit faster, there's less tax on it, but you have to be much sharper with the reaction of how to perform the movement. If you do it slower, it's much more physically draining, but it's going to be easier for you to work out when you need to convert from the pull to the push. L-sit, seesaw, hit the inside of the rings together, keep them together, false grip very heavily, biceps to the chest, allow the hips to pass the straps, keep the fists at the chest, keep the pike, and allow the body to complete the roll for you. Once you're through the roll, all it is just doing a dip to finish up. You'll finish at the bottom, you push your way out. The most common mistake here is that we let go of the hips because we panic a little bit and we fling our legs down to try find the feet to the floor, which then pulls us out of keeping the rings in nice and tight towards us. And to prevent that, all we have to do is be confident and secure within holding the pike and continuing to hold the rings with the biceps pulled on tight, with the false grip in tight and the rings pulled together.